The next day, Emma was scheduled to film the commercial. Originally, she was supposed to be filmed with a few other models, but Scott had felt her presence was too strong. The other models would pale in comparison to her. So in the end, they decided to go ahead with the shoot using only Emma and one male model. Early in the morning, Lisa knocked on Emma's door. She opened the door only slightly, as if she were hiding something. Lisa looked at her and asked, "Is there someone else in there with you?" Emma, how could you do this? You may have split up with that jerk, but you just got married to Eric. How could you mess around like this? Let me in. Let me see who's daring enough to seduce my precious Emma. Lisa was infuriated and began trying to push the door open with all her strength. But just as she did, Eric reached out with his hand and stopped it. His tall, fit physique appeared in the doorway, towering over the two women. "Oh, Mr. Roberts, it's you." Lisa laughed awkwardly, stunned by the sight of him. Eric glanced at Lisa, giving her an approving nod. He could see that, with her around, no other man would be able to get close to Emma. Without a word, he headed to the bathroom to shower. Once he was gone, Lisa grabbed Emma by the arm and looked at her in disbelief. "Why didn't you tell me earlier? You let me make a complete fool of myself in front of him." Emma shrugged innocently. "I only found out last night when I got back," she said. "Oh my God, he's so romantic. And busy as he is, he got a flight all the way out here just to keep you company? Emma, your luck has really changed. Think about all those years you spent with that jerk. When did he ever visit you at work, even though you were working for him?" Lisa's face had lit up. What a massive improvement this is. "Are we still going to the shoot?" Emma asked, appearing much more interested in the job than she had the night before. "Is Mr. Roberts coming?" "Yes, he should be," Emma whispered. Eric had come all this way. Of course he wouldn't miss watching Emma's performance. The show at Brooklyn City Center had been unforgettable. He was looking forward to seeing how Emma would do at an outdoor shoot. 30 minutes later, the three of them had arrived at the shoot location. Eric stayed by the car, keeping his distance from the set so he wouldn't be recognized. After getting dressed, Emma stepped out of the changing room in a light blue lacy dress. It hugged her elegant body and showed off her long, slender legs, which looked like they went on forever. She looked perfect, like the work of a master sculptor. The concept for the day's shoot involved a bride chasing her runaway groom. She would hurt her leg during the chase without the groom noticing. In the end, the sun's rays would hit the sparkling diamond on her hand, creating a beautiful rainbow and reminding him of the promises he made to her. The commercial would end with the groom returning to the bride for a heartfelt reunion. Scott, as well as being the photographer for the campaign stills, was also directing the commercial shoot. "Emma, we're going to need quite a lot of emotional shifts from you today. Are you okay with that?" he asked her. "No problem," she said gently. He nodded and motioned for her to get into position. "Should we do a quick run-through?" "That's not necessary," Emma replied. Normally, he would have insisted on a practice run, but after seeing Emma's professionalism the previous day, he had complete trust in her. So, since she was ready, he went ahead and started filming. Because the commercial had no script and lasted only 30 seconds, the models needed to be completely convincing as their characters. The first scene they were shooting was one where Emma would be chasing the groom. Her face would need to display a range of emotions, looking hopeful at first, then slowly becoming desperate at the realization that she can't catch up. Filming was about to start. Without any help, Emma found her exact position in front of the camera. As soon as the camera began rolling, Emma disappeared, and in her place stood an abandoned bride looking around helplessly. Her eyes welled up with emotion, though no tears came. She was panting, breathlessly, exhausted from her chase. Her desperation grew as she continued searching. Her face showed that she was at the brink of falling apart. As Eric watched from afar, he realized Emma was like a dust-covered gem. It was obvious she was still the talented model she had been 3 years ago. If she had never stepped back, how successful would she be right now? He wondered. Lisa approached Eric, beaming with pride. Our Emma isn't bad, is she, Mr. Roberts? If only she hadn't been held back by that jerk. From now on, no one will hold her back, Eric responded coolly as he got back into the car. Lisa smiled because she knew Emma wasn't going to let anyone hold her back ever again. And of course, it was reassuring that this man, powerful as he was, knew that too. Thanks to Emma's competence, the shoot ran smoothly and was finished ahead of schedule. The director was extremely impressed with her, and he wanted to offer her a solution to her rumored problems. I heard your current company has no idea how to build your career, he told her, handing her a business card. Are you interested in stepping out onto a bigger stage? She politely took his card, but she responded the same way she always did to those kinds of offers. I'm happy where I am right now. The director smiled at her. Even so, we would be glad to hear from you anytime. She thanked him and started toward the car. Suddenly, Lisa ran up to her, Emma's phone in hand, exclaiming, A woman named Ashley just called, saying she's the new manager Nathan arranged for you. She said that after the shoot, you need to get home right away to make an appearance at a company's event. It's in 3 days' time. I've just done some research on them. They're an established brand, but they've had tons of quality issues and complaints about their products. Nathan obviously wants to destroy you. Emma grabbed her phone from Lisa and replied calmly, Let's head back first. We'll talk about this later. But you've worked so hard to be here. If you take this job, it'll all go to waste. Lisa's heart was breaking for her. Lisa, do you think I haven't prepared for something like this? Emma shot back. She felt ready to handle it, although in truth, she hadn't expected Nathan to actually turn his back on the prospect of her family's fortune and choose to stay with Amber. Like I've said before, there's only a thin line between being on top and losing it all. I won't let him beat me again. As Emma approached the car, her eyes met Eric's, and they both smiled. After she took a seat next to him, he handed his phone to her and said, I asked Luke to dig up information on this new manager of yours, Ashley. Her resume and dark secrets are all here for you to read up on. You know about the event Nathan set up for me? Emma turned to look at Lisa, thinking she must have told Eric. But Lisa quickly shook her head, indicating she had nothing to do with it. With my connections, I can find out anything I want to know, Eric responded. His abilities no longer surprised Emma. How else would he have managed to get right to the top of the industry? She smiled at him and said, Don't worry, you've already given me exactly what I need to take care of this. Eric didn't respond. Instead, he reached out his hand and gently stroked her hair. As she watched the two of them, Lisa got goosebumps. These two just got married, she thought. Why does it seem like they've been in love for a lifetime? After the shoot, the three of them returned to New York. During the flight, Emma and Eric leaned on each other affectionately. But as soon as the plane landed, they went their separate ways like complete strangers. Nathan had sent the new manager, Ashley, to pick up Emma from the airport. Emma could see her waiting at the arrival gate, wearing an amethyst-colored dress, 6-inch heels, and oversized sunglasses. She kept glancing impatiently at her wristwatch, as if she were the talented star and Emma was just an inconvenience. A sign with Emma's name on it was propped up on the floor by Ashley's feet. Emma ignored it and headed straight out of the airport with Lisa. Lisa chuckled to herself as they left. Emma's developing an attitude, she thought. On the car ride back, Emma's phone rang. Emma, where are you? Ashley barked. Wasn't your flight supposed to arrive at noon? I'm already on my way back to the office, Emma replied calmly. Didn't you see me waiting for you? I saw you, she said, without a hint of emotion in her voice. Then why didn't you come over to me? Ashley yelled. With those sunglasses on, I thought you were at the airport to star in a movie, Emma smirked. Ashley swore under her breath and hung up the phone. Her face flushed red with anger as she rushed out of the airport alone. She had worked in the industry for years, but her management work had quickly earned her a poor reputation. Whenever one of her artists found success, they lost it just as quickly, either by offending someone powerful or getting sent to rehab. This time, Amber Lee herself had reached out to Ashley and asked her to manage Emma, and Ashley was determined to prove herself. But how could she have known Emma would make a fool of her before they'd even met? She wasn't giving up yet, though. After all, Emma was outdated. How dare she not show her a decent amount of respect? Emma and Lisa arrived at Global well before Ashley did. Once outside, Emma headed straight for Nathan's office, threw the door open, and marched right up to where he was sitting. "I'm waiting on your explanation," Emma fumed as she slammed her hands down on the desk. "There's something happening between you and Amber, isn't there?" Nathan stopped what he was doing, hesitated for a moment, then attempted to change the subject. "You just got back from your trip. Why did you come straight here?" "How long has it been?" she continued. "How long have you and Amber been together?" "Emma," he yelled, standing up to face her. "I've had enough of your accusations. Can't you just be kind to me like Amber is instead of nagging all the time?" She slowly pulled her hands back as she looked him in the eyes. "What do you two think I am? A toy?" "Emma, let's break up. I'm with Amber and we're truly in love." He sounded cool and detached, like he was talking to a complete stranger. "You can't blame me. There's no logic or reason in love. From now on, I'm simply your boss and you're my employee." She sneered as she listened to him, but she was calmer than he had expected. "So you're not planning to release me from my contract," she said. "I guess you've realized that if you let me go, Amber won't stand a chance." "Sorry, but you still have 3 years left." "Is this why you've set up this event for me?" "I thought the event would suit you, given the current state of your career." Nathan sat back down and began flipping through some papers. "If there isn't anything else, you can go. Also, Ashley is your new manager, and from now on, you must follow her orders." Though Emma's heart was breaking, her head was filled with rage. She'd wasted so many years on this man, this jerk. "Do you know what happens to cheaters, Nathan? They never get a happy ending. I will, though." With that, she turned around and left, more determined than ever to destroy him and his entire company. Emma returned to her office and closed the door, hoping for some time alone. Moments later, though, Ashley burst through the door and began yelling, "Are you aware that from now on, you're my artist? Do you still want to be a model or not? How dare you treat me like this? Are you a pig?" Emma rose from her chair and took a step toward Ashley. "What did you just say to me? Say it again." "I said, are you a pig?" Ashley shot back arrogantly. As soon as the last word had left her mouth, Emma slapped her hard across the face. "Don't ever call me that again," she hissed. Ashley was stunned. She stepped forward, ready to fight back. But just then, Emma pulled out her phone and handed it to her. "I have plenty more photos just like this. Since you think I'm such a pig, I've decided to send them out to all the biggest news outlets." Ashley stood speechless, not quite understanding what Emma meant. Then she looked down at the screen to see a photo of her being intimate with a famous director. She froze with fear. "This can't be," Ashley thought. "How could she have these photos? I was always so careful. This is impossible. It must be a fake." Emma continued, "I know Amber is behind all this. If you hadn't crossed the line, I wouldn't have troubled with a simple manager like you. But you don't seem to know who you're messing with." Ashley was sweating and her hands began to tremble. If she'd known Emma had these photos, she never would have agreed to Amber's request to make Emma's life difficult. She fell down on her knees, pleading, "Emma, I didn't mean to treat you like this. Please, don't release the photos. If you do, my life is over." Emma looked down at her. "Listen to me closely. I would never hurt someone for no reason. But if you cross me again in any way, I will make your life a living hell." From today on, just do your job and I'll do mine. If you want to play games with me, I'll be happy to play along. But these photos aren't the only thing you'll have coming to you. Ashley stared up at her in disbelief. Emma looked so vicious and intimidating. And they told me she was a pushover, Ashley thought. Then she replied, I understand. I know the rules now. Good. Emma quickly composed herself, returning to her chair. She asked calmly, So, when do I need to be at the event? You're going? Ashley couldn't understand what Emma was thinking. Just tell me when, Emma said. Episode 23, 3 Years Lost. Tears had welled up in the corner of Ashley's eyes. Wiping them away, she slowly stood up. She thought for a moment before responding to Emma. The 26th, next Wednesday. Is Amber telling you to reject all my job offers? Emma asked. Yes. Make a note of every offer and keep every email you get as evidence. I'll need to use them next Wednesday, Emma ordered calmly. If you have any sense left, you'll see that you're much better off helping me than working for Amber. Being the CEO's mistress isn't going to take her as far as she thinks. Ashley knew Amber had been getting into trouble lately, while Emma's popularity was on the rise. She realized that Amber had been acting weak as a way to gain people's sympathy. Meanwhile, Emma was using Amber as a stepping stone to make a comeback. Ashley decided it would be best to listen to Emma. I'll have everything ready for you on Wednesday, she said. Emma nodded and got up to leave. But as she reached the door, she turned around and added, And don't go around seducing any more men if you can't answer for the photographic evidence. Ashley's face turned pale. It was the first time anyone had blackmailed her like this. From the looks of it, Amber would be no match for Emma's cunning. She was unknowingly playing right into Emma's hands. The afternoon sun was shining brightly as Emma walked out to her car with a tired look on her face. Lisa was in the driver's seat waiting for her when she got in. Seeing Emma's expression, Lisa became concerned. Did you have an argument with Nathan? She asked. Nathan broke up with me, Emma replied as she leaned her head back and closed her eyes. She looked like she was holding back tears. Lisa, did you know? When he told me, it sounded like he was reading from a script. He even wants to freeze my career for the next 3 years. That jerk! How could he be so awful? Doesn't he have any heart at all? Lisa said. She reached out her hand to comfort Emma, patting her gently on the arm. Don't allow a man like that to make you feel bad, especially since you're going to make him pay for all of it. I do feel bad, though. I can't help it. Just take me home, Emma requested in a gentle whisper. Okay, just relax and get some rest. Emma could tell by Nathan's cold demeanor that he wasn't going to stop tanking her career. At Amber's command, he could even do worse still. She had to find a way to thwart their plans. By the time Eric arrived home that evening, it was already 8 o'clock. This time, though, there was no aroma of freshly cooked dinner to greet him. All he felt was a cold chill in the air. At first, he thought Emma must still be at work. But as he entered the bedroom, he saw her lying in bed silently. No need to ask, he thought. Things must have gone poorly today. He walked over and sat on the edge of the bed. Noticing his presence, Emma sat up and hugged him tightly. If you need to cry, then cry. You'll feel better, he said as he gently patted her shoulder. She had been holding back all day. But at his words, she suddenly let go and burst into tears. Sorry. I promised I wouldn't cry over stupid things. It's okay. Just cry, he said calmly. Maybe because his hands were so gentle, or maybe because he was older and more mature than her, something about him made her feel safe. She cried in his embrace until there were no tears left. Better? He asked. Yeah. She freed herself from his arms and looked at him. You haven't had dinner yet. I'll go make something. Without a word, Eric took her face in his hands and pressed his lips firmly against hers. He wanted to kiss away her tears. He knew a kiss was the best medicine for this kind of pain. The couple kissed so passionately, the room felt like it was spinning, and they had to stop to catch their breath. Emma, I hope no matter what happens, I'll always be the first person you turn to. I don't care how many masks you wear on the outside. When we're home, you can just be yourself. I want us to take care of each other like a real married couple. He wiped away the tears on her cheek as he stood up. And like I said earlier, you aren't allowed to put yourself to work in the kitchen anymore. She saw him turning to leave and quickly grabbed his waist. Wait, I need you right now. Please stay with me, hug me, kiss me. I'm going to need some food before I can give you more kisses like that. She smiled, got out of bed and grabbed his hand. Then I'll keep you company. The couple ate dinner together, washed up, and got into bed. Eric was sitting up, reading through some papers while Emma was trying to fall asleep. But no matter what she did, she couldn't stop tossing and turning. What's wrong? He asked. I can't sleep, she said, peeking at him from under the blanket. Can you read me a book? Only in front of him could she truly be herself. She didn't have to be calm and capable with him like she was in front of Lisa. With Eric, she was just his wife, a wife that needed to be spoiled sometimes. When he was with Emma, Eric also felt he could let his guard down. If she had been anyone else, he would have thrown his papers in her face for making such a request. But this was Emma, so he smiled and got up to grab a book. Then he wrapped her in his arms and began reading to her. It was a simple gesture, but Emma knew Nathan would never have done anything like this for her. Who would have guessed that the king of the entertainment industry would be the one willing to read her a bedtime story? Emma felt the wounds in her heart slowly beginning to heal. It wasn't long before she fell asleep in Eric's arms, and as usual, she slept soundly through the night with him by her side. The next morning, Emma awoke to the sound of her phone ringing. It was Ashley. Her voice was much gentler than it had been the previous day.
Emma, I'm at your house, but only your assistant is home.
I've moved.
Well, I came to tell you that since Mr. Davis announced your upcoming appearance, your fans are in an uproar. They're saying that if you appear at this event, you'll be endorsing a dishonest company. Some of them are ready to abandon you over it.
What does Amber think? Emma asked directly.
She can't wait to see you suffer. The event was her idea from the start. Not only does she want to step all over you, she wants your life to be a living hell while she does it.
Let's just see whose life will be a living hell next Wednesday, Emma responded. In the meantime, don't worry about the fans. Let them argue all they want. Amber had just been promoted from mistress to girlfriend and was still basking in the glory of it all. So Emma thought she'd let her be happy for a few more days before she ruined her fun. After all, Emma had yet to play the best card in her hand. Plus, she didn't just want Amber's career to be over. She wanted her too embarrassed to ever leave the house again. Because her job offers were being kept from her, Emma found herself with nothing to do after filming the commercial for Bellamy. But she wasn't angry. Though her fans were criticizing her for thinking of endorsing an unreliable product, she didn't respond to any of them, letting their insults roll off her. Ashley had been studying the way Emma handled things. She realized Emma was a lot more patient than most people and could endure loneliness well. The entertainment headlines were still focused on Nathan and Amber's video. The public was putting Amber through all kinds of pain and abuse for it. However, opinions about Emma were split. Some were sympathetic and assumed she had no choice in the company she was representing. Other fans wondered why, after all this, she hadn't left Global yet. In the midst of this heated debate, some of the photos from Emma's recent shoot were leaked onto the internet. In an instant, she was the hottest person online, and everyone was talking about her stunning beauty and long legs. What's more, a few magazine writers pointed out that when she wasn't even trying, her natural way of moving her body was far more attractive than the stiff, well-rehearsed posing other models did. So while Amber and Nathan were still being put through the ringer, Emma's photos had made everyone forget her part in the scandal. The public's only image of Emma now was of her grace and beauty as she looked into the camera with tears in her eyes. Shortly after the photos were leaked, Ashley received invites from 5 magazines in one day, each requesting Emma to appear on the cover of their next issue. Compared to pitiful Amber, whose contracts were getting canceled one after another, Emma was impressing Ashley. It's like she had a magical ability to turn any problem around. When Nathan learned of the magazine invites, he started to question his plan. Should he really be keeping her from working? He couldn't stop her from making a comeback now, that was for sure. Ashley went to Nathan's office to discuss the invites and decide which ones to take. But Amber, who was sitting in Nathan's office chair, interrupted them. Didn't we already agree that she's not taking any jobs? Are you ignoring my plan? Ashley looked at her, careful not to show any contempt on her face. Her relationship with Nathan is still young, she thought. Yet here she is, acting like she's the first lady. Let's choose E-Style, Nathan said to Ashley, selecting one of the most influential publications. Nathan, what did you promise me? Amber protested. Babe, everything I do is for you. Think about it. The incident with the video has received enough publicity. All we need now is for Emma to make an appearance and say that she and I broke up a long time ago. Then we won't be adulterers at all, just a regular couple. The public will feel guilty for shaming you, and you'll be accepted again. You'll see. I'm laying a path for you. He continued, There's not much time left until the Top 10 Model Awards. This is the fastest way to wipe your slate clean. Once you make a comeback, do you think Emma will even stand a chance? Amber's expression softened as she listened. Only you could think of something as smart as this. But Nathan had no idea Ashley was on Emma's side now. Their conversation quickly reached Emma's ears. Those two want to use you to make themselves look better. What are you going to do? Ashley wondered how Emma was going to stop Nathan this time. Then tell them I'm turning down the magazine offer, Emma replied. If Nathan asks, just say I'm not feeling well. Accepting just one of the 5 invites already seemed like such a loss to Ashley. Now I have to turn down this one too, she thought. But she understood what needed to be done. So far, she had been impressed by Emma's ability to deflect whatever was thrown at her. Effortlessly, she had passed the hot potato back to Amber and Nathan. When Ashley told them of Emma's decision, Amber nearly went crazy. She slammed her hands on Nathan's desk and said, She obviously did this on purpose. Miss Lee, how accommodating did you think a model who's had her fiancé stolen and her career frozen was going to be? Ashley replied. Nathan put his arm around Amber to calm her down. He turned to Ashley and said, Tell Emma to come see me. I'm afraid I can't, she replied. She isn't feeling well. Then tell me where she is. I'll talk to her myself. I'll call Emma and ask. Ashley turned around and phoned Emma. At the moment she called, Eric had just returned home to find Emma in the garden watering the plants, and he embraced her in a long hug. He wouldn't let go, even as Emma's phone began to ring and she answered it. Pressed against Emma, Eric could hear everything Ashley was saying over the phone. When Ashley asked for an address, his dark eyes glinted in the sunlight, and he smiled cunningly. Leaning into Emma's ear, he whispered, Give them our Tribeca address. Emma looked at him with uncertainty. Tell them that you moved to Tribeca because you needed your new home to reflect your high status. You are no longer someone he can just drop by to see. The security on the building in this street is very tight. Do you think just anyone can come in here? Emma laughed under her breath as she realized Eric's attitude towards others was vastly different to the kindness he showed her at home. But she liked it. She followed his suggestion and gave the address to Ashley. Ashley was surprised for a moment, but passed the news on to Nathan as instructed. Emma said she already moved. If you want to see her, you'll have to go to Tribeca. Tribeca? Amber thought enviously. That's one of the richest neighborhoods in this city, not a place that a small-time celebrity could afford. She looked at Ashley. Emma, moved to Tribeca? How is that possible? Miss Lee, have you forgotten she's an heir to the Miller family fortune? She felt a luxury apartment in Tribeca was the environment best suited to someone of her status. In other words, living with Nathan had been a downgrade for Emma. Since Nathan didn't know how to cherish her, she had returned to where she belonged without a second thought. Amber looked at Nathan, knowing they would never be able to live somewhere like that. Nathan's stomach began to turn. When he and Emma had been together, she'd never given anything to him. But as soon as they had broken up, she had moved to an exclusive estate in one of the most expensive parts of town. The Miller family had previously announced that if Emma would only break up with Nathan, she could return home at any time. It looks like she must have made up with them, he thought. He suddenly felt a sharp stab of regret for what he had lost. If he had only committed to Emma, if he'd been able to hold on for just a little bit longer and convince her to marry him, he could have lived on that private estate in Tribeca too. In reality, Emma hadn't been in touch with her family. After leaving home, choosing Nathan and giving up on her career, all she wanted to do now was rely on her own abilities to return to the top of the entertainment industry. Then she'd be able to hold her head high and return home to apologize to her grandfather. After hanging up with Ashley, Emma picked up the watering can again. But Eric didn't want to let her go. He pulled her close and kissed her passionately, pouring his feelings into their embrace. Emma loved their kisses. Eric was so caring, so thoughtful, and his charm and aura sparked her own passion. She dropped the watering can and wrapped her arms around him. On the beautiful balcony, surrounded by roses in bloom, she returned his passionate kiss, softly parting her lips to meet his. Eric pressed into her, bracing his hands on the wall behind them as their kiss deepened. Emma felt her face warm as their kisses became more passionate. She delighted in the warmth coming off his body in waves and the feeling of his muscles tightening as he tried to resist being drawn in further. "If you keep resisting like that, will it be bad for you?" Emma whispered, her eyes twinkling like stars. "What can I do? I kiss you every day, yet it's never enough." Eric reached out with his graceful fingers and gently traced her lips. "It's like a drug. I'm completely addicted to you." Emma nibbled softly on Eric's fingers and then turned him around so that his back was towards the wall. "It's the same for me. The more I tell myself to stop thinking about you, the more I end up thinking about you, especially the look on your face when you kiss me. Can you still resist having it all?" "I can't hold out for much longer. I want to taste all of you." Eric was tall and well-built, yet here he was, being pressed against the wall as his slender wife tempted him. "A good wife wouldn't tease me like that," he said, his voice low and rumbling. "A good husband wouldn't seduce his wife and leave her unsatisfied," she said in return. "When?" Emma leaned in close and whispered seductively, "Will you show me that you're mine?" Eric looked at his beautiful wife, at this woman who was so gentle and calm with everyone else. She was driving him crazy with desire. He grabbed onto her waist and pulled her against his body so that she could feel his hardness. His voice husky with longing, he said, "I think about it, and you, all the time." His next thoughts were unspoken, though, as the intercom buzzed. Someone had arrived to see Emma. They reluctantly pulled apart, both breathing heavily. Eric gently straightened out Emma's clothes and tucked her hair behind her ears. "Go. We have all the time in the world to get this right. Get changed and take care of yourself. You can take one of the new cars." She kissed him on the cheek as she went inside. "Thank you. Your support means the world to me." Nathan really did not want to see Emma. He was worried that seeing her would make him regret his missed opportunities even more. And now, as he pulled up outside her building and was asked to wait outside by security, He suddenly felt like he wasn't anything special at all. 10 minutes later, a bright red Ferrari pulled out of the alley and stopped right in front of Nathan. At first, Nathan didn't notice Emma in the car. She'd never shown off in front of him before out of fear of hurting his pride. She certainly didn't need to worry about that any longer. Emma lowered the window and turned her head to speak to Nathan. "Why are you looking for me?" she said coldly. "Emma," he said, feeling a pang of regret. He never thought she would be so much better off after leaving him. "What do you want?" she said in a straightforward, unemotional way. "I need to talk to you about eStyle magazine. Global's already accepted the job for you, so you can't just turn it down. You still have a contract with Global, and I'm still your boss. For the sake of the company, I'm willing to release a statement explaining that we broke up a long time ago, but you have to take this job." "I can't," Emma responded flatly. "I've already asked Ashley to reject all offers and spread the word that I'm sick." Nathan was enraged that she would be so selfish. "Don't you have any respect for your obligations? We're no longer in a relationship, but you can't just do whatever you want. You know it's in your contract. You have to accept all offers accepted on your behalf by Global. If you don't, I can take you to court. Do you want that to happen?" Emma didn't care about the contract, but his threats made her even more resolved to make sure he would never benefit from her again. Her ultimate aim remained the same: to destroy Nathan and Amber completely. But perhaps now was the time to appear to be helpful. "I already rejected the magazine offer, so there's no turning back," she responded with finality. "But I'll help you out. You can go ahead and ask the team to give me the statement they prepared. At next Wednesday's event, I'll make the announcement in public. Announcing it personally will have a better effect than issuing a written statement." Nathan's expression warmed up a little, and he eventually nodded. "I guess that's all we can do. But do you truly want to help the company clear things up?" "Nathan, even though you've been heartless towards me, I'll do what's right," Emma responded seriously. "I know Amber's been forcing you all along." "Thank you, Emma." He held her gaze for a moment, then quickly drove away. He knew if he was to stay even a minute longer, he would start begging her to take him back. Emma sat in the car for a while after watching Nathan drive off. She slowly began to smile. How could he not realize how unreasonable his requests were? He'd not only betrayed her, now he was using her to clean up the relationship between him and Amber. Wasn't he ashamed of himself? Global Entertainment and the event organizers released statements with information on how to get tickets to see Emma. As soon as they released the statements, the online community responded with negative comments. "Emma's still appearing at this event? Is she really that desperate? She's just sinking to their level. She's seriously become a disgrace. I really thought she would have made something of herself as a model. I must have been blind. Emma, take yourself and your cheap product and go hide somewhere far away. Everyone is complaining about you, and you're still planning to attend the event? From now on, in my heart, I've completely written you off. You're just the worst." At Global Entertainment, the mood was much lighter. Amber was sitting in Nathan's office chair, happily reading through all the abusive comments. They had put her in a very good mood. If Emma was going to fight with her, she'd better be prepared for the worst. Amber could do a lot of damage. And after tomorrow, no matter how much Emma wanted to make a comeback, she was going to fail. In fact, it would be even worse this time around than it had been 3 years ago. Amber was looking forward to seeing her downfall. The joy she would get from that experience was not something she could get anywhere else. Meanwhile, Emma was also at Global's offices. She'd come to meet Nathan and review her statement. He handed her the script he'd prepared earlier and then ordered, "Memorize the script word for word. Tomorrow at the event, I'll be expecting you to deliver it exactly as it's written." Emma could barely refrain from rolling her eyes as she looked at the script. Was Nathan seriously not embarrassed in the least? On the way home, Ashley drove while Lisa and Emma sat in the back. Lisa read through the script, then pointed to it angrily. Is Nathan trying to provoke us? He really would do anything to clear Amber's name. I swear, he has no conscience. He certainly doesn't care about wounding your heart. Ashley looked at Emma in the rearview mirror, but Emma's face was as calm as ever. Ashley had been in the entertainment industry for years and experienced the worst of the industry's machinations. But even she was still shocked at Nathan's behavior. She didn't understand how Emma, who was the object of his heartlessness, could remain so calm. Emma, what do you want me to do tomorrow? Ashley asked, her eyes going back and forth between the rearview mirror and the road ahead. I've prepared everything you've asked for. I've gathered all the evidence, and I have a recording of Amber saying that she'll prevent you from getting any work. Tomorrow, I plan to take full advantage of being in the spotlight to announce my official comeback, Emma said to her two companions. I trust Lisa completely. Ashley, can I trust you too? You don't need to say another word. I'm with you all the way, Ashley responded, eager to take on the challenge. I admit, I've been in the industry too long, and I didn't have my head straight. But now that I've seen them in action, you've got me right by your side. I want you to sell the evidence to the biggest media companies as a headliner, Emma continued. Up until now, all my efforts against them have been too weak. I've obviously got to step it up. From now on, they're not even going to know what's hit them. Go Emma, Lisa whooped. Ashley felt her pulse speed up as she heard Emma's words. Any woman with half a heart who saw Emma betrayed and humiliated would be angry. Fortunately, Emma's method of revenge was to step it up a notch and get right back at the conniving couple. Ashley knew that Emma lived in Tribeca, but didn't know she lived there with Eric. And despite Ashley's assurances, Emma wasn't ready to completely trust her. So after arriving by her building, she asked Ashley to drive Lisa home. Upon entering the house, she realized Eric was already home. His handsome figure was stretched out on the sofa peacefully, his right arm over his eyes to block the lights. Emma smiled as she sat down next to him and gently ran her fingers over the contours of his face. Why aren't you sleeping in bed? I'm just resting, he answered. I want you to know that Kaleidoscope has already sent out a letter from our lawyers. We're suing the company that you're endorsing tomorrow for fraud. Eric sat up and looked at Emma. By tomorrow afternoon, the news will be all over the place. That's okay. I'll be appearing in the morning and all done by the afternoon, Emma replied as she embraced him. Even though she didn't say much more, he seemed to have read her mind. He knew what she was planning to do the next day. At the same time, he also knew that the client would not let her off so easily. That's why Kaleidoscope, who wouldn't usually waste its time with such a small company, had decided to send out a letter from their legal department. Sweetheart, thank you, Emma said. For what? Eric asked as he gently stroked her back. Thank you for understanding me. Thank you for protecting me. He didn't say anything as he put his head on her lap, using it as a pillow. I've been looking at documents all day. My eyes are tired. Then how about I read them to you? Emma picked up the documents and started reading them out loud while he listened with his eyes closed. When she finished, she sighed. A while back, Star King offered me good terms, but I missed out when I stepped away for those 3 years. After all that's happened, who would have thought I would end up with you by my side? I'm so lucky to have saved the best for last. After canceling your contract with Global, what company do you want to sign with? It's still too early to decide. She shook her head, not sure how much of her career she would be able to recover. Sign with me, Eric offered. That's sweet, but I'm not special enough for Kaleidoscope. She knew that getting into Kaleidoscope wasn't a realistic prospect for her. Eric laughed, but moved away from the topic. His wife obviously did not understand what he was suggesting. He hadn't meant that she should sign just any old contract with Kaleidoscope. The agreement he had in mind would be unique. She would be the only talent in the entire world with Eric as her manager. He would leave this surprise until later. He wanted to see how things would play out. but he was bothered by Emma's lack of confidence. He pulled her down toward him for a kiss. "Don't underestimate yourself," he insisted. "I think you're just trying to find an excuse to kiss me," she laughed, then grasped a hold of Eric's warm hands and placed them over her heart. She surprised and delighted him with her next words. "I'm ready to take things further with you." Episode 27, Announcing a Comeback. Eric's touch was so exhilarating, it made Emma feel like she was possessed. Eric gently brought Emma down on the sofa and unbuttoned her blouse. He began to explore lower and lower. This was something he'd been dreaming about for a long time. "Eric," Emma winced. "It hurts a bit." Eric stopped immediately and returned his focus to her lips. It was some time before Eric finally pulled away. "Tomorrow is an important day for you," he said, gently caressing her cheek. "You should go get ready for bed. You need a good night's rest." Emma bathed and washed her hair, then gratefully fell into bed. Thanks to Eric, she was certainly sleeping well lately. The next morning, Ashley and Lisa brought Emma to the Elm Grove Cosmetics event. Upon arriving, they were surprised to see that Nathan was already there. On the surface, he was there to support his model. In reality, he was there to make sure Emma would remember to clear Amber's name. "How could I forget?" Emma said after he once again reminded her of the need to follow the script. "Emma, I know this is hard on you, but what we had between us is over. You don't have to be angry at Amber. She's innocent." "And I'm not innocent?" Emma protested. "I did nothing wrong. In fact, I gave up years of my life to help you. And all that's worth nothing? You're an ungrateful animal." "Watch what you're saying," Nathan warned her angrily. "We both did what we did willingly. I never asked you to sacrifice anything for me. You were the one who wanted to take that on." The makeup artist knocked on the door just then, preventing Emma from saying what was in her mind. She immediately got up to let the makeup artist in, wanting Nathan to leave as soon as possible. Nathan was still angry as he turned to leave the room. As he passed by Ashley, he ordered, "Keep an eye on her. Don't let her do anything wrong." "I won't," Ashley nodded. At 9 a.m., the event began. The MC was already on stage, offering a welcome to the crowd before introducing Emma. Emma was just about ready for her 9:30 appearance. She wore a shimmery silver dress with a plunging neckline and had brushed her hair to one side, leaving soft curls falling over her brow. "Emma, are you ready?" Ashley asked nervously. "You're up next." "We're here for you," Lisa added. "Don't worry about a thing." Emma nodded. In just a moment, she was going to initiate a battle with Global. She had no room in her head for worry right now. Her focus was on remaining calm and focused on what she needed to say. "Go!" Ashley escorted Emma out of the dressing room and onto the stage. The venue for the event wasn't very big, holding only about 200 people. Emma knew that plenty more people would be watching remotely, however. And why? Because they wanted to see her endorse this cheap cosmetics brand and then rip her to shreds over it. They would get something to gossip about, all right. Just not what they were expecting. And now, welcome our special guest, Emma Miller. Emma stepped out to the front of the stage. It had been a long time since she stood in front of the spotlight, so she took a moment to soak it all in. Our Emma has such a pair of enchantingly long legs. Emma, say something to this wonderful audience. The host handed the microphone to Emma, and she calmly faced the almost 200 people in front of her. "Hello, everyone. I'm Emma Miller." "Welcome, Emma. We're honored to have you here. As everyone knows, your career is on the rise. And we're all very grateful that you came here today to support Elm Grove Cosmetics. May I ask you a question?" "Of course." "Could you please describe why you like using our products so much?" The MC jumped straight to the main point. "Why I like using your products?" Emma frowned a bit, as if confused. The comments on the live stream started to explode, even before Emma had given her opinion. Sell out. If you recommend Elm Grove, you're finished. Haven't you got anything better to do with your time? I wonder how many people will be fooled. Emma, don't help them. Emma took a breath, then glanced at Ashley and Lisa. She made sure the camera was on her and then opened her mouth to speak. First of all, I'd like to thank my agency, Global Entertainment. Global accepted the invitation on my behalf, even though I'd never even heard of Elm Grove before. There were some murmurs in the crowd and a few laughs, but no one could have anticipated what was coming next. Second, even though I was forced to step out onto this stage, I want to tell you that my personal ethical code is intact. The customers have rejected Elm Grove's products. I support the customers, and I will boycott the products as well. I have never used them, and I never will. And last, I would like to thank everyone for their attention. Even though I may have lost my position in the entertainment industry, I will not let go of my principles. 3 simple statements. Emma was so quick that she was able to get her message out before anyone could stop her. By the time everyone realized what she was saying, she'd almost finished. I hereby announce that this is the official start to my comeback. Please stay tuned for an even bigger announcement coming your way soon. Thank you for your support. Emma dropped the microphone into the hand of the stunned MC and walked off the stage. The online community was in an uproar. OMG, what did Emma just say? I need to go back and listen to it again. Is she cool or what? Yes, this. I was prepared to hate her, but then she actually did something like this. This was a major slap in the face of Elm Grove. I can't think of anyone else who would be brave enough to tear apart her agency and her client at a live event. Cool, cool, cool. Emma is so cool. If she's making a comeback, we're in for a treat. Ha 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 ha. Did you see the expression on the host's face? Emma is amazing. I'm so touched. I'm so glad I didn't misjudge her. I love you, Emma. The entire online community cheered for Emma. Social influencers took short clips of her statement and spread them as widely as they could. In an instant, all traces of the former hateful comments were buried under the outpouring of support. Unfortunately for her, she hadn't even made it as far as the dressing room when Nathan and Elm Grove's representative, Joe Connors, confronted her. Emma, is there something wrong with your brain? How dare you cause a commotion like that in front of so many people? Joe actually pointed his finger in Emma's face. Do you have a death wish? What made you think you could trash us and turn our event into your personal press conference? Episode 28, Threats and Promises. Emma, I'm warning you. If you plan to survive in this industry, you better get out there and apologize, or I will make you regret your very existence. Joe Connors yelled while beet red and almost incoherent with rage. Emma just laughed gently, almost as if she'd heard a good joke. Her expression remained calm as she said, I think it's too late for that. I've already spoken, and I can't take the words back, Joe. And even if I did apologize, who would then apologize to the customers? If you don't apologize and help us deal with the negative publicity you've now created, we'll have to take extreme measures, Joe threatened. He looked up at the nearest security guard and beckoned to him. The security guard started walking toward Emma. Watching the scene unfold, Lisa and Ashley quickly moved to stand in the way of the guard. Although she felt frightened, Lisa pointed at Joe and asked angrily, What do you think you're doing? You can't threaten her. Nathan's face had turned pale. He wasn't worried about Emma, though. He was worrying about how Global could get out of this fiasco. Under normal circumstances, he would never have accepted a deal with a company like Elm Grove. But because he was in a rush to clear Amber's name, he'd now gotten them all into a sticky situation. He needed to get Emma to make this better right now. Who did Emma think she was anyway? She was just a washed-up model. How dare she think she could attempt a comeback? Did she really believe after leaving him she could reach the top again? Nathan angrily pulled her to the side, away from the guard and from Joe. I know you hate Amber and you hate me, But you're not just hurting us with this garbage. You're hurting yourself, too. You've just broken every rule in the entertainment industry. No matter how good you think you are, you'll never find work again. Is that what you think? She responded, raising her eyebrows. Because I think you're wrong. Look, I don't know why you did this. Also, I don't care. Nathan was so mad now that he started yelling at the top of his lungs. You completely screwed up this event, and it's your responsibility to make things right. I expect you to make a full explanation to Elm Grove. And you're going to apologize to the crowd. And don't you dare try to put the blame on Global. You'll also be paying for the damages. And since you didn't do what you were told and clear Amber's name, I'm going to release a statement on your behalf. When that time comes, you'll just have to suck it up and deal with the fallout. I don't think you understand me. When I said I was making a comeback, I meant that from now on, I will do what I want. There was no warmth in Emma's eyes. All she felt toward Nathan was disgust. I've already made arrangements. My lawyers will be meeting you this afternoon to review every section of my contract. They'll also point out all the work I should have been paid for according to my contract, but never received. Nathan was stunned into silence. He didn't know she had this side to her. He couldn't believe she could force him into a corner so aggressively. How was he going to fight back against this? After a moment's thought, though, he refused to accept that she had changed. She's acting like this because she's received a shock, he told himself. She's always been weak. She couldn't suddenly become so powerful. She must be doing this to get my attention. Oh, Emma, you don't need to cheapen yourself like this. Just let it go. Joe saw that Nathan wasn't making any progress in getting Emma to apologize, so he stepped in again. This time, his threats were even more serious. If you don't go out there and beg everyone's forgiveness, you won't be walking out of this door. Nathan stood back now and observed the scene playing out in front of him. He had no intention of helping Emma. He wanted her to know that the consequences of betraying him were serious. He was so egotistical, though, that it never crossed his mind that he had betrayed her first. Lisa and Ashley stood next to Emma anxiously as 3 security guards now closed in on them. It wasn't the first time that Lisa had regrets about being female. It was so unfair that these men could overpower and intimidate them just because of their size. The security guards actually smiled. There was nowhere for the women to hide. Then, a loud bang stopped everyone in their tracks as the door to the street flew open with such force that it slammed into the wall. "Who's in charge here?" asked the man who had just entered. Wearing a tailored suit and carrying a leather briefcase, he was accompanied by several unsmiling, muscular men in black t-shirts and blazers who could only be bodyguards. "Who are you?" Joe asked. "I'm Kaleidoscope Entertainment's lawyer. My name is Reed," he responded, pulling a letter out of his briefcase. He handed it to Joe and said, "The advertisement you shot last month used one of our artists without our permission. You know that's illegal. This is a serious action resulting in damages to Kaleidoscope Entertainment. This letter is notification that we plan to sue." Joe looked like he'd just been handed a bomb. His hands actually began to tremble. He'd never thought Elm Grove would attract the attention of an empire like Kaleidoscope. How could this happen? Small companies did stuff like this all the time, and he'd never heard of Kaleidoscope taking action against anyone else. How much more bad luck could he have? He no longer cared about what Emma had said at the event. Getting on Kaleidoscope's bad side could be a death knell for Elm Grove. Emma was well aware that Reed showing up with the letter was Eric's way of helping her get revenge. It was just Elm Grove's bad luck that they'd messed with Eric's wife. Lisa began to grin. Elm Grove was so arrogant. They had no idea that Eric had instructed his lawyer to wait until the time was right and then attack. He really was the most thoughtful husband. Nathan was also frightened by the sudden turn of events. His first thought was to save his own skin, and he hurriedly left the room, not sparing a thought for the 3 women left behind. "Emma, we should leave," Ashley said. Having been in the industry for a long time, she knew that when something lucky came your way, you needed to take advantage of it and not ask too many questions. In the car on the way back, Lisa began scrolling through the entertainment news. She was delighted by the comments posted by the online community. They continued to praise Emma, seeing her in a new and fascinating light. Lisa was so excited by what she read that she'd started reading some of the comments out loud, a huge smile on her face. You know, she said, I could just imagine Amber's face right now. She must be furious. I bet she thought your career had gone up in flames. It's almost enough to make me feel sorry for her. Almost, she said with a laugh. Emma didn't want to waste any time focusing on Amber. She was already thinking about her next move. Are we all organized for phase 2 of this master plan? She asked Ashley. Of course, I promise you, she replied. It's going to be amazing. What kind of ridiculous agency is Global anyway? Can you believe they forced Emma to appear at this event? That boss must be a total idiot. I know, right? If Global can't make legit deals for their artists, they should let us do it. Even a kid could do a better job than them. Emma, what are you endorsing next? What should I buy? Who's gonna give me money? Emma, dump Global. You deserve better. Emma, you're so cool we could cry. After scrolling through these comments, Amber furiously tossed her phone to the side. She could never have anticipated that Emma would be brave enough to risk her career just to stand up to Global. She was supposed to meekly do what she was told. Instead, she'd called out Global's mistreatment of her and made it clear she wouldn't be involved with an unreliable product. And then she had the nerve to announce that she was making a comeback. What was going on? How could an outdated model like her announce her comeback in such a high-profile way? Amber was beginning to hate this uncontrollable version of Emma more and more. She said with a nasty laugh. As long as she was still at Global, she wasn't going to let Emma get away with anything of the sort. And if she went down, she would take Emma with her. Nathan was still not over the shock of the Elm Grove event. In a daze, he'd gone straight to his office at Global. Seeing Amber sitting on his office chair, he'd thrown off his suit jacket, raked his hands through his hair, and walked over to stare blankly out of the floor-to-ceiling windows. His frustration with Emma had reached an all-time high. Why aren't you working on a public statement to clear things up? Complained Amber. I can't believe she threw all the blame on us, and she's so rude. How dare she thank Global for the invitation to a company she claims she's never heard of? Emma had indeed never heard of Elm Grove, and she certainly had been treated with a lack of respect. But Amber didn't consider these points. All she cared about was seizing opportunities to dump on Emma whenever she could. There was no way she was going to hold back now. Nathan, put out a statement right now. Tell everyone that she organized this scene to make money and that Global had nothing to do with it. Nathan was so furious, he was willing to do whatever it took to try and clear Global's name. Emma had stained their reputation, and he didn't know if it would ever recover. Amber was right. It was time to take action. He immediately gathered his PR team to write an emotional public statement. The statement reiterated that no one had forced Emma to appear at Elm Grove's event. She had chosen to represent Global and support Elm Grove's cosmetics. The only conclusion was that she had lied. The statement also revealed that Global would penalize her to the fullest possible extent. After all, she had defamed the company and ruined the event. It was ridiculous for her to expect Global to cover up for her, especially when she had made poor decisions to begin with. With this kind of statement, everyone would be able to see that Global Entertainment was separating itself from Emma and that she was at risk of losing her contract altogether. In addition to the statement, Nathan also arranged for some of his staff to face the media and accept interviews. Oh, do you guys want to talk about Emma? There's not much I can say about her, other than nothing is as it appears with her. She's totally two-faced. To be honest, I think Global's innocent. Everyone knows she lied, and it's clearly not the first time. I support Global Entertainment. It's honestly sad that she would stoop so low just to try and advance her career. These responses came from employees at every level of Global's hierarchy, from the receptionist all the way up to a member of the board of directors. It seemed they were all determined to blame Emma and make sure she couldn't retaliate. As for Emma, she had no intention of replying to Global's statements. She wasn't going to sink to their level and respond to their insults. Unfortunately for him, Nathan had completely underestimated the power of Emma's announcement that she would boycott Elm Grove's cheap cosmetics. The online community was on her side. They'd already realized that Elm Grove's products weren't worth buying. So even though some people were fooled by Nathan, Emma's popularity continued to rise like a mountain, shadowing everyone around her. While Global Entertainment was spreading rumors, Emma's team released their damaging evidence. It was time to embarrass Global. Through a respected online media source, a few voice recordings were sent around that showed the extent of Global's nastiness. Anyone hearing them could now see that Global Entertainment was a cold-hearted, soulless organization. The evidence included actual recordings of the plot to block Emma from receiving good offers. As if freezing her out wasn't bad enough, the public had now heard how Global had forced her to substitute for Amber and then apologize in public. They had heaped humiliation on top of humiliation. While some of this information was shocking, the most surprising aspect of the recordings was the voice giving the commands. It wasn't Nathan or the chairman of the board. It was Amber. A few people questioned the source of the recordings, but it didn't matter. Less than an hour after the recordings were released, Ashley opened her email to find it flooded with messages from different companies asking to work with Emma. But in the end, Ashley didn't accept any of the offers. She sighed, thinking about the events of the day and what they all meant. Amber was arrogant because Nathan favored her. She was also backstabbing and nasty, and her efforts to promote herself had messed up Global's formerly smooth operation. The online comments started to roll in. OMG, I can't believe Nathan is such a jerk. He's on the brink of failure, and he still wants to make Emma a scapegoat. How can Global be so horrible? They tried to throw their own model under the bus. I've never seen such a shameless entertainment agency. What about the staff that spoke up supporting Global this morning? They sure look stupid now. Global Entertainment, get out of town. Global Entertainment, Nathan, and Amber were one step closer to going down. On the other hand, Emma's popularity continued to soar. The fallout was widespread. Companies began the process to cancel their contracts with Global. And it wasn't just Amber that was affected. Global's other models were also in a holding pattern as all current endorsements were placed on hold. Nathan had seen the overwhelming number of comments online. He knew he was really in trouble now. As a last resort, he picked up the phone. Emma, do you really want to see me die? Will you only be satisfied with my total destruction? Emma didn't address Nathan's comments directly.
My lawyer is already on his way to see you. It's time to clarify our contract.
You can't do this. Have you seen what everyone's saying? You're going to bankrupt me.
In comparison to what you and Amber have done to me, I don't think it's so bad. But if you decide to release Amber from her contract with Global, I'll consider showing you mercy,
Emma said calmly. Was that your intention all along? Nathan's tone turned from anxious to furious. 'Cause let me tell you, I will fight you tooth and nail.
Let's see you try,
she responded and hung up the phone. But even though she sounded confident, she knew this wasn't over. As long as Amber was at Global, she still had a chance to regain her popularity. On his way home, Eric looked at the day's entertainment news and was impressed by what he saw. His wife was quite the woman. Even Luke praised Emma. She's kind of amazing, he said. In a moment, I want to stop and buy roses, red ones. I want to congratulate her on her comeback, Eric said. You got it, boss, Luke agreed. He smiled to himself. Maybe he would hide a special little package among the roses. That would be a nice surprise for Emma. After Emma released the news, Global and Amber were hit with a raging storm of criticism from the public. This was the biggest crisis Nathan's company had faced in its entire existence. His disgust and hatred toward Emma weren't just passing emotions, they consumed his thoughts entirely. The company's higher-ups requested an emergency meeting with Nathan to discuss the issue. Unsure what he would tell them, Nathan called his older sister, Mia, who lived in Mexico, for her advice. "Nathan, I've already seen the news," Mia began. "Emma has solid proof of what you did. You didn't keep things hidden, so she found evidence and decided to use it against you. But don't go get hung up on what's already happened. Now you need to figure out a way forward. You need to make it clear to everyone that you are the boss of your company. No matter how popular Emma gets, she's just a model, nothing more. Her fate is in your hands." "But Mia, what exactly should I do?" Nathan couldn't think straight, his mind juggling thoughts of Emma, Amber, and his company all at once. "First of all, you need to release a public apology to appease all her angry fans. Tell them you fully support Emma and her career, and you'll treat her with respect from now on." "Okay, but there's no way Amber will like that." Nathan's head was pounding. "I'm getting to Amber. I'm arranging a photo shoot with Secret Magazine, and we still need 2 more models. You should have Emma and Amber do the shoot together. That way, it'll look like their relationship isn't all that bad. Plus, putting them together would get people talking. Secret isn't the best magazine out there, but it's distributed worldwide, and it could help Amber's chances at the top 10 model awards. You see, this way, you can use Emma's popularity to boost Amber's. Remember, Nathan, a crisis can also be an opportunity. If you use this publicity to your advantage, Global will come out of this even better than before." After listening to her, Nathan's mind felt much clearer. Wisdom really does come with age, he thought, and then replied, "Thanks, Mia. I understand. You and Emma were together for so long. You must have taken things way too far for her to attack you like this. I'm not judging you for being with Amber. There aren't many people in this business who can say they've never cheated. But why did you have to let Emma find out? If you weren't my little brother and you didn't have a baby on the way, I would have left you to fend for yourself," Mia warned. "But this is the perfect solution. Make them share a stage. Make them deal with each other directly. You've been spoiling Amber, and now she's become arrogant and demanding. Maybe this will humble her a bit." "Mia, she's pregnant. I don't want to do anything to stress her out right now." "Well, you've got to if you want Global to come out on top. By the way, Margot's ready for her kidney transplant. As you know, Emma's the only one out of our whole family who's compatible as a donor. Do you think she'd still be willing to donate her kidney to Margot?" Nathan gasped. He completely forgot about that. There were 3 children in the Davis family. Mia, the oldest, was a well-known senior manager of an entertainment company in Mexico. She'd been scouted by the company 3 years ago and had been living across the border ever since. She'd also been responsible for introducing her younger brother, Nathan, to the entertainment industry. The youngest of the 3 children, Margot, had spent much of her life in the hospital due to her failing kidneys.
"Mia, no matter what happens between me and Emma, I won't let her go back on her promise to save Margot. I swear."
Mia thanked him and hung up the phone. As angry as she was at Nathan for his stupidity, she was concerned for him too. She hoped her guidance would help him through this. At the meeting, Nathan instructed his team to release a statement apologizing for Global's poor treatment of Emma and promising to make amends to her. The statement would include a plea for Emma and her fans to give Global one more chance. Nathan also told the team to announce that Emma and Amber had both been invited to do a photo shoot with Secret Magazine. As soon as the news broke, the public couldn't stop talking about it, just like Mia had predicted. The 2 models had fought over the same man and were clearly enemies, people argued. Was Global now planning to pit them against each other at the photo shoot? Though Emma's popularity was still on the rise, it didn't erase the fact that she'd been second in line to Amber for years. As for Amber, although things had been going smoothly for her lately, she was still considered a B-list model. No matter what she did, she couldn't get to the top. Fans from both sides started arguing. Did Emma's poise and professionalism make her a better model, or did Amber's attractiveness win out? Such is life in the entertainment industry. The public's attention can change from one controversy to another in an instant. Of course, all Emma wanted to do was avoid global sneaky tactics and Amber's influence by speaking out herself. Now that Nathan had placed her and Amber on the same playing field, she had reached her goal. Ashley called Emma as soon as she heard the announcement. "Emma, are you going to agree to do the photo shoot?" Ashley asked. She knew that since Nathan had announced the shoot as part of his public apology, it would seem petty for Emma to reject it. "I know Nathan didn't ask for your opinion, but if you don't want to do it, we can find a way out of it somehow." "I'll do it," Emma replied. "Great. It'll be good for you to share the stage with Amber. When people see you and Amber performing side by side, they'll be forced to see just how much better you are than her. Next to you, she'll look like an amateur." Ashley continued, "We have a meeting at the office tomorrow morning. I'll pick up Lisa first, then I'll come get you." "Okay," Emma said. "Ashley seems to be getting used to being my manager," she thought. She hung up the phone and continued with the meal she was preparing in the kitchen. Even though Eric had told her not to cook, she'd never considered herself too delicate for a little hard work. Besides, she thought, I should be allowed to cook for my own husband. She was still busy in the kitchen when Eric arrived home. Sneaking up to her from behind, he lifted her off her feet with his strong arms and set her down on the kitchen counter so they were face to face. "You know what the consequences are for not listening to me," he said. She hooked her arms around his neck and wrapped her legs around his waist. "What are you going to do? Eat me?" she laughed. "You really are fearless," he replied, smiling. He picked her up and carried her into the living room and placed her gently on the sofa. "Today was a big day for you, so leave dinner to me." "Okay," Emma said as she took off her apron and handed it to him. Eric was tall and his body was well built. The soft fabric of his dress shirt clung to his muscular chest and stomach, making it difficult for Emma to take her eyes off him as he returned to the kitchen and began cooking. As she watched from the couch, she saw a man who was in control, calm and capable. He handled the ingredients like he handled anything else in his life, quickly, efficiently, and without leaving any mess behind. Watching him is like admiring a work of art, she thought. Emma stood up and went to the bedroom, trying to calm her fluttering heart. When she entered, she saw a bunch of red roses lying on the bed. She grabbed the bouquet excitedly and leaned in to smell the lovely fragrance. As she did, she felt a small square packet hidden among the flowers. She carefully pulled it out. When she saw she was holding a condom, her face turned bright red. "Does he want to have me tonight?" she thought nervously. "And did he want me to find out this way, or should I pretend I didn't see a thing?" A while later, Eric had finished making dinner and went upstairs to find Emma. He opened the bedroom door to find her on the bed, holding the bouquet of red roses he had bought her. She was in the middle of counting them. Her cheeks were flushed, and her lips moved slightly as she counted. "She's ravishing," Eric thought. Emma looked up as he walked towards her. "I've never received so many flowers," she exclaimed. "Eric, I'm so surprised." He looked at her beaming expression and crossed his arms playfully. "Why are you so easy to please? A few flowers shouldn't make you this happy. There is so much I want to give you. But you never tell me what you want. Why aren't you like other women who ask for diamonds and jewels, or even fame and success?" She laughed gently. "I have your hand in marriage. I have half your assets. And I even get to spend the rest of my life with you. Diamonds? Fame? I can get those things for myself. What could please me more than you?" Eric's heart lit up as he leaned over and kissed her. "Your lips are so sweet. I can't help but taste them." Emma grabbed onto his shoulders and pulled him onto the bed with her, kissing him passionately. Less than a minute later, she found herself pressed under his body with her shirt lying on the floor. The dinner they had made was the last thing on their minds now. Emma couldn't resist her urges. She mirrored Eric's moves and started to unbutton his shirt. Seeing the glowing bronze skin of his chest right in front of her, Emma's cheeks grew an even deeper crimson, and she quickly turned away. He laughed gently, touching her cheek and bringing her gaze back to meet his. He asked softly, "Do you want it?" She threw his question right back at him. "Do you?" "You know what my answer is. Emma, if you say it, I will." He leaned into her ear and whispered, "Make you stay in bed all night." She knew what he meant and nervously replied, "I don't know if I'm ready, but I do know I want to be with you for the rest of my life, Eric." Eric felt closer to her than ever before. As their relationship grew, he knew it would only be a matter of time before they consummated their marriage. And he didn't want to wait any longer. He wanted her to experience the ultimate in intimacy and feel the pleasure she deserved. But if she's not ready, there are other ways to please a woman, he thought. After a heated embrace, the couple found themselves lying still in each other's arms. Eric was stroking Emma's back gently, his eyes closed. A moment later, she pressed her hand against his chest and looked at him intently. "I saw the thing you hid in the roses. I thought..." "What thing?" he asked. She reached under her pillow and pulled out the condom. "This thing. I thought you were ready to have me. I even went and took a shower. How embarrassing." Eric took the small packet in his hand and scrunched up his eyebrows, seeing that Luke had made good on his promise. "This thing wouldn't fit me anyway," he said, smiling. "Stop talking about it," she cried. "No need to be embarrassed," he laughed. His smile made his face even more handsome. "I'm finding your reaction adorable." She hid her face under the blanket. "No more." Eric placed his hand on her shoulder. "Okay, let's talk about business instead. You already said yes to Secret Magazine's photo shoot, right?" Emma uncovered her face and looked at him. "Why? Are you afraid Amber will upstage me?" "When your itinerary to Mexico is finalized, give me the details right away," he said mysteriously. "What are you planning?" she asked. His eyes gleamed, but he said nothing. This is perfect, he thought. He'd been meaning to buy insurance for Emma's legs, and Mexico would make a great destination for him to entertain potential insurance agents and secure the best deal. "Didn't we already agree?" she continued. "Outside the house, you're the CEO of Kaleidoscope, and I'm a model for Global. We can't interfere in each other's lives." "Mrs. Roberts, have I ever interfered with you?" Though it broke his heart to watch Emma get bullied by Global, he hadn't gotten involved because she didn't want him to. But given the chance, he could destroy a person like Nathan without lifting a finger. Emma looked into Eric's eyes and could see that he respected her completely. "Nathan wants to use me to boost Amber's popularity," she said. "That's why he put us on the shoot together. He also thinks it'll keep me from causing trouble for Amber, since any bad press about her could affect me too." "But," he chimed in, "with your talent, even if the two of you were on the cover side by side, you'll still be the star, and she'll just look like your prop." "You have that much faith in me?" "I believe in you." Emma smiled and closed her eyes. Cuddling up in Eric's warm embrace, she slowly drifted off. Once she was asleep, Eric got out of bed and called Luke. "Find out Secret Magazine's shooting schedule," he ordered. "I need to know when Emma will be in Mexico, and clear my calendar for those dates too. Then I need you to schedule some phone calls with a few insurance companies." Early the next morning, Emma, Lisa, and Ashley arrived at Global together. As they walked in the door, they saw Amber and Gary had just arrived as well. Amber looked arrogant as usual. When the other staff members saw Amber, they all welcomed her in respectfully. But when they saw Emma, they didn't bother with greetings. Some of them didn't even look up as she passed. Amber looked at Emma and then at Ashley. "Emma, with a manager like that looking after you, you'd better be careful."